like I was saying, it's I forgot I was recording for a second. I have to work on not being so scared of other people seeing me. Like, people seeing me triggers my anxiety so bad. And that's something that I never experienced until high school. Like, people used to come at me in middle school, but it wasn't, I don't know, because I just remember myself dealing with it in a manner that was mature of me at the age, like just didn't really let it knock down my confidence like that, or, let it hide away from my personality, or let it stop me from making new friends. Because when one friendship group got annoying and tried to bully me and wasn't really like messing with my friendship or whatever, I moved on to an next friend group. And it was every time like I made my own. You don't want to invite me to your world or whatever. I'm not going to try to fit into that. I'm going to make my own world. And I don't know, somewhere along the lines, I've lost that in me. And I've been trying to figure out, where did I start losing that confidence within myself to show up in the world that I know I'm meant to show up as. I don't know if it's when I open my third eye. I don't know if it's, losing my dad in a sense. I feel like that definitely played a big part in losing my strength. Because even though he used to knock me down a lot, it was still strength in that relationship because I knew he was still there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still lived in the same household. Yes, we would argue, but he was still there. I would wake up and I would see my father. It wasn't great, but he was still there. His presence meant the most to me outside of all of that, because deep down I still have love for my father. It just wasn't the relationship that I preferred it to be, right? But he was there. So now that I moved and I'm trying to figure out who is Jai outside of, I was going to say the hood, but it wasn't really the hood. It was more just like, no. Yeah, it was, but it's more than that to it, who am I outside of trauma, basically? I haven't figured that out yet, because trauma becomes a part of you for so long that you think it's your personality. You know what I'm saying? Like, you out there in the streets just wearing that you have trauma proudly. And we do that as a Black community on the whole. Like, we think it's cool to wear our trauma on the outside. Yeah, I'm struggling with this and that, but it's okay. I'm going to get through it. And just like go out into the streets and it becomes a part of you. And that plays into the hood mentality. And I feel like that's why we're okay with expressing certain things when we shouldn't be okay with that. But it's normalized because you go through something so long that it becomes part of your personality. So I think that's what I was doing when it came to my trauma. Like, I used to be like, yeah, like literally telling my friends, yeah, don't fuck with my dad. And like say out loud like it's a normal thing to say, because everybody could, well, not everybody, but most people could relate to their dads not being ish. So it was just something to bounce back off of. And now we're talking shit and now we're venting and probably crying too, whatever. But it was something that was just out there, normal. And now I'm at a spot where it's like, I don't wear my trauma on the forefront anymore. And, like, now you could look at me and be like, what trauma have you been through? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's there. I just don't wear it. I don't talk about it because I've done most of my healing inwards and to myself, and I didn't have a therapist, so I'm not used to talking about my problems out loud on the regular, like how I should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, YouTube is a whole different story because YouTube helps me vent and at the same time be myself, you know? I don't know. It's just hard to, because the anxiety is definitely a goal that I want to get rid of. Like, people look at me and they don't understand the things that would go on in my mind as me having like a mini panic attack or something. Because sometimes it's mini. It hasn't been severe since college. People around me don't understand. Like, in college, I was at rock bottom. I was having panic attacks like crazy, thinking I was going crazy because I was trying to figure out who am I, right? So I didn't know at the moment that, well, I ain't gonna say I didn't know. I forgot at the moment that I have an option to be myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jaya outside of my parents, outside of my friends. So what I've done for a long time is try to find my niche and my personality in others. So it's just like, okay, in order to figure out who I am, do I have to act like my father or my mother? And it was very conflicting. Like, I remember standing in the kitchen while my friends were cooking in college, and I was high as hell. And I'm just like there, literally switching personalities from my dad and my mom. But in my head though, like, every time I spoke, I felt like I was talking like my mom. Every time I did an action, I felt like I was doing it as my dad, and it was literally driving me crazy. I remember that point because I literally wanted to just like right there and then. Like, it was sending me crazy. And I had to realize, like, well, shout out to like the advice. The one advice that I got, the one person that knew me the most at the time was just like, you're not your father. Like, I know that you think you are, but you're not your father. And that message right there will never leave me because it woke me up in a sense. It was like, oh shoot, you're right. Like, I'm my own person. Like, I was thinking that I was doing horrible narcissist things to my friends and family, and they hated me because I felt like I was acting like my dad, but whole time I wasn't. It was just in my head, and I realized I could be in my head about a lot of things that I feel like I'm projecting onto situations or people. So I would think that, you know, some person hates me because I set up a boundary, or I feel like what I've said was taken the wrong way, or I'm not behaving how I should in this situation, or whatever the case may be. And I was just realizing lately that that's just projection, because when you actually talk to the people, or when you actually calm down, you realize it's not like that in the first place. Like, you set a boundary with that person, but they're still your good friend. They didn't take it no type of way. And I was just realizing the projection with that one. So I have a tendency of doing that, and I'm trying to work on just not assuming and asking questions, because I realize with me, I've had a lack of vulnerability for a long time. a very long time. And the situation that I'm in right now, as in like my relationship, it causes me to be vulnerable, but I'm still trying to be vulnerable emotionally and intellectually. Like, it's easy to be emotionally, like physically, you know what I'm saying, whether it's through intimacy or through the do. But when it comes to having conversations, I like to tell people just enough to where, like, you know me, but you don't know me, right? And I'm getting to the point in my relationship where it's going to get to the point of, okay, now this person has to know me. And that could be the most scariest thing. And I'm about to tear up just fucking talking about that shit. But it's the most scariest thing because every time I've showed a person, you know, the true me, I feel like that person is so broken. Me. Like, I feel like I'm broken at times, even though I know at the same time I should be so proud of myself because I wasn't as broken as I was before. Like, if anybody really knew me, when I first moved here, I was a wreck. Like, I didn't show people how many times I've cried on this couch, how many times I felt crazy and alone and afraid and all these things because I felt like, yes, I moved in with my family, but I also moved here by myself on a whim. At that, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna come. You know what I'm saying? And I just left everything that I knew behind. My whole foundation has left. It stayed there, and I moved onto new grounds and did not know where to start. Did not have a foundation, so I felt like I was just walking on air. And for me to walk on air and not know what the hell is going to happen next, I get freaked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like just having the unknown. And I really think it's just the Capricorn in me because we like to have sturdy, grounded energy. Like, we feel so much 10 times, 1,000 times better if we know exactly how the fuck this shit is gonna play out. Excuse my language. I did not know how this was going to play out. I didn't know how I was going to make friends. I didn't know how I was going to get a job. I didn't know how I was going to honestly live without my best friend. My best friend has been my rock in the States. You know, like, when I was going through my trauma, she was that extroverted friend that took me in and nursed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was the person in my life that through all this bullshit that I'm going through in my life right now at home or whatever, she was that one person that brought that light and really had me stay true to my core self. And I would never forget that. You know what I'm saying? I will forever be thankful for that. I will forever thank God for having my best friend in my life because she was that light. She was that light. And I know I haven't expressed that all the time because I have an issue with being emotionally vulnerable. But she knows I love her. You know, time to time, I still tell her, like, I love you. We used to write paragraphs to each other all the time. Sending her gifts, like, whatever it is. Yeah, she knows. She knows. I just feel like I could have done a better job because she started expressing her love to me early. Like, in a way of, you know, not judging me when I was dead broke. Letting me stay at her place. Letting me vent to her. Letting me be my weird, crazy self. and never judged me, never flipped her back on me. Like, we've just matched energy ever since. I go cry. Whew. Okay, sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh shit. I don't know where the fuck that just came from. But I think is that how the fuck therapy goes? Like, I just felt like I had a breakthrough moment. My gosh. But I did, actually, because I think that's where I got lost. My foundation was my best friend. And without my best friend, without my best friend, this life thing is not the same. Okay. Fuck. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's the answer right there. My whole foundation was my best friend, and since I moved here, I don't know, bro. I don't know why the fuck. Oh my gosh, bro. Damn. I'm like trying to speak and I keep crying. Yeah. I don't even know what to say after that. That's crazy. I was not expecting to cry. Yeah. So I'm just trying to, find that foundation again. But honestly, I feel like it definitely is a blessing though, because since she was the extroverted friend and I was the introverted friend, I feel like I didn't really have a stance on my own, if that makes sense. Like, her friends were my friends. Like, every friend that I had, I met through her. I didn't have my own friends. You know what I'm saying? So, because outside of that, it was hard. to make friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want nobody else but my best friend. Like, she's the only one that understands me for like 10 plus years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So, trying to find that again. I think that's where I'm like, obviously there's no other person like her, but I just want to find that similar vibe where I found like a good friend in somebody. But I had to separate from her because with her by my side, I feel like she would have made the friends for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to do this on my own. I have to learn to be extroverted on my own, because being extroverted on my own is honestly my true self. Like, you look at pictures of me when I was young, I was that girl, and I knew I was that girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, them little poses I used to be doing with the leg and everything like this, I was like, wow. Like, I've been knew I was that girl. Why am I letting other stuff stop me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I letting certain things cloud my judgment? And I just need to get back to that. But honestly, I feel myself getting back to that, surely but slowly. And honestly, I thank bartending for that, because bartending, like, you have to be extroverted. Come on, like, you're mixing and mingle with different people and everything like that. But it gives me a chance to show up my personality and meet new people. You know what I'm saying? I've met good people through bartending. You know what I'm saying? Good friends, good coworkers. You know, I just, yeah. It's just that foundation I lost. And trying to figure out myself and set up my own foundation. And then me and my best friend could add hours together. I feel like I was at the point where she was like, I'm about to cry again. My best friend was my angel, you know? Fuck. And she was my angel. Like, we literally have matching names. My last name is her first name. That's how you know. That's how you freaking know. Like, every stage of my life, she has seen, she has been in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn. And was the only time, the only person to take time to actually be in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people would always say, like, yeah, I'm your friend or whatever. I always got you, whatever the case may be. But nobody has ever showed up for me like she has, outside of my mom and my sister. Nobody. Ever, ever, ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, the times that I felt so down, I couldn't even pick myself up. If that was the type of relationship where, like, I'm at a 0, you know what I'm saying? And she's at a 100 and she's carrying me. Or sometimes it'll be like 50-50. Or whenever she got me too, like, she'll be at a 0 and I have to be the 100 to pick her up. Like, we just always had that relationship and just always understood, you know, each other on that basis. I feel like we were on the same thing. Like, we only showed people what we wanted them to see. But when it came to me and her, like, that is the most vulnerable relationship I have, you know? And I just want to build that vulnerable relationship with me inside, and also find the heart and the space to be vulnerable with other people on the outside. I lost that. Like, I don't even feel like I'd be fully vulnerable sometimes with my family, you know what I'm saying? But with my best friend, it was different. But it's just a lesson where I have to take in, like, no, this is your lesson to learn to be vulnerable on your own. Like, don't always depend on my best friend to help me, guide me in that way. Like, no, I haven't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't been vulnerable, truly vulnerable in a very long time. That's what I just realized. I haven't been truly vulnerable in a very long time. And I just want to get back to that because me being vulnerable means living in my truth. And nothing makes me happier than living in my truth. Nothing compares to me living in my truth. Okay? Like, that's where I want to be right now, is I want to live in my truth. And I want to be the most vulnerable person. And I have to see that vulnerability does not mean that I'm up for collateral damage, like the other shoe is going to drop. Vulnerability still requires me to be strong. Vulnerability still requires me to be independent. Vulnerability still requires me to be confident. Still requires me to be outspoken, truthful, present, presentable. Vulnerability requires all of that of me. There's nothing left out. The lover side of me is included in that, everything. And that's what I want to be. Like, I just want to be that and only that, because I know my purest energy comes out in the form, and that's when I truly strive. And that's what I want for myself. Like, I want to go out into the world and not have anxiety all the time. You know what I'm saying? Not worrying about what other people may think of me. Not be insecure about shit that I know I can the shit on. Like, everything. And just living in my truth and being vulnerable means that. It means all of that. And that's what I'm trying to get back to in this new phase of my life. Thank God for this ganja, because I swear when I smoke, I be having these, breakthroughs. And that's why I chose to record, because I knew I was going to have a breakthrough. This is how I do my self-therapy. And I think I definitely need to show this, because, we could normalize self-therapy if we wanted to. It's definitely the harder route. It's not easy. I'm going to tell you that right now, because in order to have self-therapy, you need to be vulnerable with yourself and truthful. You see, I just had that breakthrough. I wouldn't have had that if I wasn't being truly, truthful with myself and honest with myself, and really take up that was deep. That was a deep freaking, what's the word I'm looking for? A deep trauma? No. Damn, my mind is blank. But that was deep, right? And it needed to be brought up. And in order to bring that up, you have to be honest with yourself to the core. Don't leave anything out. Don't try to gaslight yourself into, nah, that's not what it is. If you said it to yourself, if your intuition is telling you that, that's what it is. And you have to actually gather all this information, even if you got to vent for like 10 hours, but you're just gathering information, putting A, B, C together, and you get your breakthrough. And now you can reflect on how you could do better. So I feel like self-therapy is definitely efficient for people that are already emotionally intelligent and very self-aware of who they are. You have to be self-aware to do this. Because I couldn't, not that I said that I couldn't go to, real therapy. I've tried it, but when I've tried it, I already knew what my problem was. You know what I'm saying? Like, the therapist would be like, why do you think you do such and such? I know, I just still do it, you know? And it was harder for me to go to therapy because I feel like I was one step ahead every time. And I just feel like you're not really telling me something new here. I need to do this on my own. And when I started doing it on my own and stepping back from therapy, that's when I actually started to heal. So I feel like self-therapy needs to be more normalized only if you could handle it. If you can't handle it, that is also okay to admit to yourself. Therapy on the whole is the avenue to just going upwards. But you could therapize. Is self-therapize yourself? Is that the word? I feel like that sounds crazy. You could self-therapy yourself. I don't know. It's possible, you know. YouTube videos definitely help me. Messages that people put out there in their healing process and them sharing their story definitely helped me. Music helped me. Meditating helped me. Getting out into nature helped me. And I'm just doing this on my own. Like, I'm the happiest, I've ever been. And even though I'm still happy, I still have these moments where I have to reflect because healing is not linear. Healing all over the freaking place. So one minute I'm happy and I'm feeling this life and I'm like, yes. The next minute I'm reflecting. But I don't want to see it as like a down point, like I'm going down. No, this is just a reflection period. Like sometimes you get caught up in the world and things are going too fast and you don't really have time to yourself. And, me taking time to myself means reflecting. What am I ignoring at this moment? Why is my anxiety acting up? And I feel like I released so much energy. Like I feel so much lighter since I just cried and let that out. And that's what you have to do. But in order to be really in it for yourself and do that self-therapy, you have to be in it all 10 toes because you're not going to like what comes up 9 times out of 10. The realizations that I've had, all of them, I took so long for it to come up because I didn't want to face it. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people do that. They don't like what their intuition is telling them and their core is really telling them, their heart. And they downplay it all the time. Like, that reoccurring thought that's in your head that pops up all the time. You keep downplaying like, nah, it's not that serious. No, it's popping up for a reason. And a lot of people do not know how to address that. And that's why I feel like self-therapy is not as popular as it should be. Because a lot of people need that crutch and somebody to really talk them through it to, have that breakthrough. There is nothing wrong with that. Shoot, if I felt like I wanted to go a different route, I would definitely go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's way more easier. Therapy is way more easier with an external person because they already know what to ask you to have that breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? What takes you a couple months or weeks to figure out with your therapist, it probably took me a little longer because I'm doing it myself. But both avenues still work. I rather myself. That's just me. I've already chosen the path for years, so I'm going to stick to it. So, yeah. But I'm glad I got to show you guys this process. Yeah, because this is what happens behind the scenes, right? Literally, I'm glad. This is what happens behind the scenes. And normally I would have the breakthrough and then make a video about being vulnerable. Literally, this is how the steps goes. I ignore something. It finally comes up. I talk to myself. I have that breakthrough and then I make a video about how to, you know what I'm saying? How to be vulnerable. But I think I'm just going to post this one and you guys see the real tea, you know what I'm saying? Just going to my other series, but yeah. I'm gonna wrap this up. My tea is getting cold. It's funny how I still have my tea. I don't be playing by my tea, girl. So that's cool. If you guys stay this long, I don't even want to know how long this video is. But luckily, it's raw, uncut, so I don't have to edit anything. But yeah, if you stayed this long, thank you very much. You didn't have to, but you did. And hopefully, I'm in the mood of just not really forcing things. Like, if it flows, it flows. If it don't, it don't. So if I get another video like this, cool. If I don't for a while, that's also cool. But I'm not going to force anything. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it so much. Subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, and see, like, you know, where this journey takes me, and you guys too, of course. You know, we're all in this together, and this is only the beginning, you know, literally, and it's only gonna get better. So I can't wait for you guys to see how I grow. And honestly, I've been looking like at my old videos and seeing how I've grown already. I've become a more calmer, you know, structured individual. And yeah. Thank you guys so much.